Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Coach's Corner brought to you by Canine Chronicle TV and Dog Show Tips. Today, George is going to talk about some problem dogs, which we all run into. So get your notepads ready.
Coach's Corner with Will Alexander and George Alston. Brought to you by ProPlan and Canine Chronicle.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Coach's Corner with the coach himself, Mr. George Alston. Hey, Pops, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm feeling pretty good. It's great weather, and I get to go out there and start my griddle up now. And for the rest of the summer, I end up cooking out there for Mama, so she doesn't have to do any work. And
Oh, good. That's a good idea. Excellent.
yeah, so I took an old griddle and rebuilt it, and it is out there working pretty good.
Well, good. I love barbecues. So,
What I'm going to talk about today is something that's very dear to my heart. And I go crazy when I watch people when they show dogs or take care of dogs in the heat of summer. What people don't understand, that dogs react totally different than humans do with change in temperature. Dogs don't react as quickly as people do.
right.
So, for instance, the human being, their whole body has sweat glands on it. So they can cool themselves off quicker than a dog does. Also, there is a misconception that dogs do not have sweat glands. But did you know that dogs do have sweat glands in their feet?
Yep.
People don't know this. Okay? So what I did in my kennel, my show dogs were never in air conditioning at home. And during the summer, I would not show a dog that was living in air conditioning unless it was in my kennel for at least 3 weeks prior to. I
So
had
climatize.
Right. I had big fans in the kennel, and that just had big air going through, but I wanted the dogs to be comfortable. And it drives me crazy. People are in these motorhomes or in their cars, they got the air AC kicked up high, and then they take them out in to show them in the hot weather, and it's like a dog hits a brick wall, and then they can't understand. But also, too, they do things incorrectly. I'm going to go through it. Number one, people that squirt water in their dog's mouth, thinking that that's going to cool it off. But what they don't realize is that the slime inside the mouth acts as an insulator. So when the water evaporates, it doesn't cool the blood flow going through the mouth. The best way to cool a dog off is to take a dry washcloth and wipe the slime off the inside of the mouth, and then any new moisture that is on there evaporates, will cool the dog off better. Also, you have to understand that capillaries adjust the dog's temperature. And people that take a towel and put it in ice water And then on those smooth-coated dogs, they put this wet towel on top of their bodies to cool the dog off. Sounds good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Stupid. My favorite word, stupid. The minute you put that cold water on that dog's back, the capillaries shut down, and the dog, there's no blood flow to the skin. There's a lot of heat that is radiated off of that skin, and if you stand there in hot weather and you put your hand near the top dog's back, it's hot because the capillaries are wide open. The blood flow goes through there. It cools the blood flow. The minute you put that ice water on there, it shuts it down. So capillaries go up and down depending upon temperature. Arteries go up and down, but they're not going up and down because of temperature. They're going up and down because of the signals coming from the brain to regulate blood flow for to the rest of the body, and where the blood flow has to go to the kidneys or to the liver or something like that. But arteries do fluctuate, not as much as capillaries do. So the best way to cool a dog down is to use ice packs on the arteries, on the neck, and on the groin. And that will help cool a dog down. You could use one of these. They came out with this pad that you could put in the dog's crate so that the dog can lay down on it, and it's not hitting capillaries as much as it's hitting the actual arteries. And also letting your dog stand on a wet towel will help cool the dog down and whatever. Okay, now, you have to regulate when you're showing the dog. Every movement he makes creates heat. And this is because energy that is used to just walk creates heat, or a BTU. So if I see people going and they stand their dog up ringside, and it is stupid because the dog is using energy, which is creating heat in the dog. So during hot weather, you cut down on the amount of time your dog is standing around ringside, and you primarily go from the crate to the ring. Also, when you go in the ring, you have to use your brain. And I watch people go in there and they fight like hell to make the cut. In hot weather, you're either going to make the cut because you have a good dog, or you're not going to make the cut because you have an ugly dog. So you go in and you do the minimum handling in the beginning. And then you gradually escalate what you're doing to your dog. And the old adage is the judge points that last time around the ring, not the first time around the ring. And I got a big kick out of people who go in the ring in hot weather and they let their dog lay down in the ring, let's say the group ring. Well, it takes energy for that dog to lay down. And it also takes energy, which creates heat. And it also creates energy and heat for that dog to stand up. You're better off just letting your dog stand there and not do anything, and he's not using any energy. That means he's not creating heat with his movements and that type of thing. You have to conserve energy. I had one time at the Irish Setter National out in California, and my dog was very lucky, and my dog won the Irish Setter National under Langdon Scarda, very famous judge. And so we're having a picture taken. And he said, George, he says, and it was a hot day in Oakland, California. It's never hot in Oakland, California. On this day, it was 98 degrees, 100% humidity.
Jeez.
Most people in California didn't know what that was. My dog was from Virginia, and he thought he was home. But he said to me, he says, he says, in the beginning of that class, I would have put up Corky Room's dog, and, his dog was going like a house afire and everything. Your dog was just sort of dead on his feet. He says, but and it was like a total of 110 specials. And he says, as the class went on, he says, your dog just kept getting better and better. And Corky's dog, he says, ran out of gas after the first 15, 20 minutes. But he was doing really good. I would have put him up in the beginning. And then he says, but your dog just kept getting a little better and a little better. He says, finally, that last 10 minutes, man, that dog was just hot. He was hot. And then bang, and that last time around the ring, he says, you smoked everybody going around that ring that last time. And he stood there for a minute, and he says, you little son of a bitch. You did the same thing to me at the Springer National 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I said, I was taught by the greats. The judge points at the end of the class, not the beginning of the class, and he laughed like hell. The other thing you have to worry about is overcooling of your dog. And the people that start their cars and have their air conditioning on, or in their vehicles they have the AC on, that AC can go off. It happened with my daughter Jane down in Florida when a handler left his van going with the air conditioning on, and he went off to have lunch at a restaurant or something. Nobody knew where he was, and the engine quit on the vehicle. And AC was off. My daughter Jane found it. She was able to pull some dogs out and save their lives. And I think there was a total of 5 or 6 dogs died. And during that year, there were several instances where handlers with big loads of dogs lost a lot of dogs because their AC went out. And they said, we have a monitor.
I remember that.
We have a monitor. I mean, there was one out in Colorado. And what happens is they close up their vehicles and they turn up the AC. Well, first of all, it's terrible because it lowers the dog's body temperature. You don't want to lower the dog's body temperature. Did I use air conditioning on my rigs? Yes. But I always kept the doors and the windows open.
Yeah. So do we.
You don't want to lower the body temperature. You just want the dog to breathe dehumidified air. That's all. If the AC goes off, they're not going to die. You just have to be very, very careful. I would not take a dog on in the summertime, as I said, that lived at home in an air-conditioned house unless I had him for at least 3 weeks before I would take him out to show him. So he would acclimate to weather without air conditioning.
Yep.
Just be very, 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 very careful. There are some dogs that don't do well in heat. If your dog doesn't do well in heat, don't take him to shows. Now, I have normally a breed like Dobermans do well in the heat. They have a longer nose, and I have a Doberman that if it gets to be 73 degrees, she's hot. There's no way she would ever go to a dog show in the summertime. And yet I've had other dogs like Marquis, the Irish Setter. In his whole life, I never saw him pant.
Really? Wow.
Never. We would be out showing, and here on the East Coast, we show, it'd be 98 degrees, 100% humidity. And he's standing there with his mouth closed. It was beneath him to ever pant. He never quit. I mean, it could be. I also had a Gordon Setter that was the same way.
And Gordons are usually susceptible to the heat. They get tired.
Yeah, but Yankee never quit in the heat. I mean, he did most of his best in show winning when all the other dogs were dying in the best in show ring.
Yeah.
He's up there.
There's some dogs like that.
Well, so you just have to be careful.
Yeah. That's the main lesson. Be careful,
Yeah.
There are folks out there, and then we got to make sure they're comfortable. But I understand. Like I remember Irish Setter National. I can't remember which year it was, but I went through my head what you taught me. And after the judge made her cuts, and that was Maxine Beam, everybody else rushed off to their trucks to get them dogs cool. I sat my dog under a tree and put a fan on him. So he still had lots. I don't know. Not sure where I learned it, but it sunk in.
But it worked, didn't it?
It did. Everybody kept saying, "Why don't you go to your truck or go to your room?" I'm like, "No, he's fine. He's just cooling himself off here." So
yeah, don't let anybody know what you're doing.
Oh, he was doing. Oh yeah, I tell people because they need to learn too. So
okay, so just be careful, folks, and don't. By the way, when my daughter Jane found those dogs and whatever, she had somebody come up to her and she said, "My handler, he would never close up his rig. He'd always leave his windows open and the doors open and whatever, so that would never happen." Jane says, "Who's your handler?" And she says, "Dougie Holloway." And she says, "Excuse me, ma'am, where do you think he learned that?" He apprenticed under my father. So, it's just something that is very dear to my heart. I mean, I would chastise people when I was handling to a fault. They would think I was the police or something like that.
Yeah, well, it's important. It's got to be something that's
I have one more thing to do, and this is advertising. Okay? People have wondered why and have spotted computers behind me. Can you see it?
Oh, yeah.
No, can you see the computer behind me now?
Yep.
Okay. What it is, I had an operation and I had to stop playing golf, which was my hobby. I used to play 5 days a week. So I have a new hobby. Done it for about 2 years now. Is I buy computers off of eBay for parts, rebuild them, put solid state hard drives in them, a little stick of memory, juice them up, everything, and then donate them to the American Legion for veterans that are having problems that need a computer for work or for study or something like that at no cost to them. So I also take in people who donate them and rebuild them and give them to, I put parts in them and stuff like that. So anybody that has a laptop that they don't use anymore, go to my Facebook page, write me your phone number or your email address, and then I'll get in contact with you. But that's my hobby now, is rebuilding computers.
Well, that's a good hobby. So remember that, guys. If you have a spare laptop that you're just thinking about getting rid of, contact George. He'll take it off your hands. He'll rebuild it, and he'll donate it. So. And
I donated to, you get these veterans with the what do they call it, RSVP or whatever that they get. But there's some homeless veterans or whatever that want to get back on their feet and whatever. So far this year, I've done 12 computers since the first of the year. Last year, I did a total of, I guess, 16 or 18 computers. And right now, I'm dealing with 3 American Legion outfits in the area. And it's a good thing. So
it is a good thing, George.
Okay.
Another good lesson.
Off my soapbox. Don't forget, folks, if you have questions on anything that we teach or try to teach here, contact Will, and we will answer your questions, handling questions, whatever. We've actually done questions from people from Europe. I think that was about a year ago we did that one.
Yeah.
And also, remember, dogs are folks. Bye, Will.
Thanks, George. Thanks, Pops. That was great, as usual. If you like what you see here, make sure you press the like, share, and subscribe button, and we'll see you somewhere down the road.
And this year, with her strong athletic build, her fluid gait, and her confidence in the ring, the Beagle by the name of Miss P became the 9th.
The best in show is the Beagle.
Congrats, Miss P, on winning the 139th Westminster Best in Show.